Welcome aboard the Bitcoin Express. My name is Chase. Let's get to it. Very, very concerning news. In a recent study, it was reported that China's Bitcoin miners control 66% of the global hash rate. And according to the report, the Chinese share of hash rate has surged from 60% in June 2019 and is the highest recorded by CoinShares since the firm started monitoring the measure in 2017. So since June, it's gone up. It's 66%. And why is this bad? Because in Bitcoin, when you control more than 51% of the network, it's centralized. You have the ability to control the network, and it will compromise the network. So this sounds like very bad news, and we're going to talk about why it's not as bad as you think. But first, let's ask why. Why does 66% of the hash rate, why is it located in China? Well, as the article I have in front of me from Forbes mentions, for many years, China has consistently been a major market for Bitcoin miners due to its cheap electricity and affordable resources. So bottom line, stake that again, they have cheap electricity and they have resources. What kind of resources? Well, China is a producer of the most popular Bitcoin miner, the Ant miner, and I'm here on their website by Bitmain. It's a Chinese company, and they sell these Bitcoin miners, and they're ASIC miners, which is a very powerful computer because of the difficulty level now of mining Bitcoin. A person is no longer able to use, let's say, a regular personal computer or a GPU. So you need one of these expensive pieces of equipment, which China has, and then in addition, like we said, they have cheap electricity. And the report also mentioned that, quote, while we expect this ratio to fall again as latest generation hardware further makes its way into the non-Chinese market, at the time of writing, as much as 65% of Bitcoin hash power resides within China. So the article is mentioning that at the moment, it's a total hash rate of 66% in China, but over time, it will likely decrease as people around the world will have more access to the Chinese equipment, and also there are countries that also have cheap electricity. So now we're going to talk about why it's not as bad as you think. So just first off, in general, the total hash rate of the network is almost near the all-time high. And this is a great measure of security. The higher it is, the more secure the network. If you're looking on the screen, you can see back in 2009 when Bitcoin first started, it was obviously zero. But over time, it got higher and higher and higher, and 10 years later, we're near the all-time high for hash rate. So just to keep that simple, the Bitcoin network in general is stronger than it's ever been. Now we're going to talk about the 66% concentration of hash rate in the Bitcoin network. In front of me, I have a chart around the world of the largest mining pools. So what is a mining pool? It's a group of miners that get together to mine Bitcoin. And if you're looking on the chart, you can see there's a big centralization geographically in China, where I'm circling the arrow on the screen. But of course, there are mining pools, great big mining pools in other parts of the world, such as in the United States and around Europe. So a mining pool, why would someone join a mining pool? The reason is when someone is a solo miner, it costs a lot of money. You buy equipment, you pay for electricity, and you might never even mine a block. You might not even get a reward. You can do it for months, even a year, maybe a couple years, and you might never get compensated. So you're just going to lose money. So what people do is they get together, a group of miners, and they share their computational resources. So if many people get together mining Bitcoin, one of them is going to win the reward. One of them is going to mine the block. So by joining this pool, every time there is a successful mine of a block or a reward, it's divided equal among participants. So there's a great incentive for Bitcoin miners to join a pool. And as we mentioned earlier, when you have more than 51% of the network, this compromises the network. So the figure we saw, 66%, that is for China as a whole, right? But when you really look at it and break it down, there's no single company or mining pool that even has close to the 51% hash rate of the network. And now that would be a problem. That definitely would be a problem. So again, we see it's geographically centralized in China, but there actually is no single party or mining pool that even has close to 51% of the network. These mining pools have maybe the highest one, maybe 19, 20%. You have 16%, you have 14%. So we're very, very far from a single party controlling the network. So this is the reason why the news is not great that 66% of the hash rate is in China, but it's also not as devastating as you thought. And then the second thing, the second misconception is all of these reports are saying China, 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 almost as if the Chinese government or the country is in control. You have to remember, all of these mining pools are individuals. They have the choice to move their hash rate at any time, switch mining pools, switch to a different party. The Chinese government, they have nothing to do with this. They can't control the power of the network. They are individuals. And then on top of that, another thing is anyone can join a mining pool. When we see 66% of mining pools hash rate are in China, what doesn't show up in the figures are who are the people that are part of these mining pools. Do they even live in China? Do they live across the world? Do they live in a nearby country? So again, we see this look of a geographic centralization, but there really is no single party, or not even a few parties that control most of the network. So there are other places in the world where there is cheap electricity, and as mentioned earlier in the video, the equipment that China has will slowly start entering into other parts of the world. So there will be other countries entering the space, countries with cheap electricity. If you're looking on the screen in front of me, you can see China has the cheapest electricity, and there's a couple other countries that are also green, which means it's the cheapest electricity. My geography in school wasn't on point, so I can't look at this map offhand and tell you what countries these are. But we also have the light blue countries, which also have cheap electricity costs, and you'll see places such as Russia that have that, and then also certain parts of Africa. So again, it will slowly start moving to other parts of the world. So the goal of this video, the end of this video, is to realize that 66% of the hash rate is in China. But as you can see, it isn't good news, but it's also not devastating news. And with that, I do want to mention that it is very important to continue to spread. And we can see that it slowly is. If Bitcoin is still at this level in 5 or 10 years from now, with all of the power in China, then maybe that will be devastating news. But for the time being, Bitcoin is getting stronger, the network is getting stronger, and other countries are mining. And then as we mentioned, I'll restate it one more time, China has no control of these miners. They're simply individuals. And these individuals have the choice to move to a different mining pool at any time that they would like to. And I hope that you found value in today's video. And if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you disagree with what I have to say in the video, I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments below. So please leave a comment. I want to thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.